So welcome to another wellness session. So my name is Zelia. So I'm sure most of you guys know me, and even if you don't, please let's get to know each other sometime. So my role is simple here at Ndunamo. So I just make sure that you guys are doing well, even with the baseline coming. I know the nerves are there, but I hope we can just help each other cross the line. If the nerves are there, they might just impact you. So we need to find a way to ground and contain them. So today I have a very interesting guest. I'm sure some people are recognizing her. So I have Shumani here. So Shumani is a friend of the brand, and believe it or not, Shumani and I have walked this journey since CTA days. She'll tell you how long that is. So today we'll be covering a very interesting topic. So it's time management and effective planning. So we are acknowledging there's an assessment coming up. So you might be here anxious. Am I ready enough? How do I plan? How do I engage with my group during the research period? So that's what Shumani is basically here to unpack. So I encourage you to be present, reflect, please take notes and ask questions. You see that burning question that you've had. So please do ask Shumani the questions, and she'll be able to assist you in just navigating. So you guys know the drill by now. So let's just keep this space safe and respectful. So just please mute until if you want to maybe ask a question, please raise your hand and Shumani will acknowledge you. And also feel free to ask questions on the chat. So as we go, just share the reflections. And this is a judgment-free zone. We've come this far, so let's please keep the momentum going and let's always keep it respectful. So I'll just hand over to Shumani. Shumani, you can take the floor.
Good evening.
Good
evening, Shumi. No, I do feel Atara when she say that now we're like, it's not time for classes, we're anxious and everything. I've been there, I understand you, Atara. This class at the last minute, they used to feel like it's a bit of a stress, but I'll make it worth your while. Let me know when you can see. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm going to be taking you through time management and effective planning today. So I'm aware that you wrote your mini case study last month, yes, and you've gotten your results so far. And then now you're preparing for Friday where you're going to be receiving your PRI and you're writing next week on Wednesday. So I understand that you may be anxious because maybe the results didn't go well. If they went well, I'm sure you're excited to go through this this felt big assessment, which is normal meaning now is the big one. So I'm going to be taking you through the pre-research strategies, the preparation during the assessment period, assessment day tips, and post-assessment activities, and final tips and personal insights. So if you got any question, you can post them in the chat. I'll answer them after each and every slide as much as I can, that at least we finish on time. Okay, introduction. Who am I? Before anything else, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of two. Before I'm a CSA. My journey is it's long and it's very unconventional because I didn't go through the normal become accounting, normal CTA. I decided once I was done with my become finance that, okay, fine, let me just try this out. That's when now I did my BCTA, then I finished, went to do my CTA. It took me 2 attempts, my CTA. The first attempt is a long story, which I even regret why I even tried that journey. Story for another day. And then ITC, I did it through also Ndunamo. Yes. I did ITC during lockdown. I passed that time when they had the 28% pass rate. I was like, oh, I don't know how I did it, but it went very well. And then APC, that's when the struggle started. I did my APC 3 attempts. So I'm going to take you through the journey of how I went there. But first and foremost is the mindset. If you can see on your left, I've got a screenshot where it's written Shumani Ndabeni CSA. I used to speak that into existence every day. I used to ensure that I look at that It was a way of reminding me, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And the verse there, Habakkuk 2, verse 2, that is a way, it used to just ground me. It was a clear communicated vision that motivate me to continue going, that don't give up, you'll get there. So if you have to have your mind to be positive, always have something. Like for instance, I've been meetings. If I lose my concentration, I'll be like, Ndabeni CSA on my paper. Ndabeni CSA. That was just for me to say it will get there. That was my mindset. Another thing, support system. As I've told you, I'm a wife and I'm a mother of two. So that for me was the reason why I kept on going. So my mindset was always positive because I know I'm doing it. I've got a support system. I've got people rallying behind me, my siblings, my parents, my friends, everyone. Like, you need to have a family. That's when they say no man is an island. That thing, it keeps you going. It keeps your mindset always saying, this is it, I'm gonna do it. And the balance of work, personal life versus school. We all know that we work, we've got deadlines, we've got personal life that can actually hinder us to actually put school aside. Those things happen. For instance, when I wrote my ITC, the day before the exam, my daughter fell. When she fell, you can imagine, I need to choose, do I go study or do I take her to the doctor and then I tend to her? She had to go to X-ray, get crutches and so on. It was a long day. The following day, I'm writing my ITC and I passed it. You know why? Because I was able to balance my work life and personal life. And I did that by doing what? Every morning, I used to put in 1 hour each and every morning. I'll wake up because I'm a runner, so I'll run at 4:30. When I come back, I'll sit down. I'll have a 1 hour where I look, I reflect. What do I do here? I'll have a timetable of what I'm going to do in that 1 hour. So those hours that I'm putting in every day, end of the day, when life happens, trust me, I've balanced it off by putting in those 1 hour every day. Not really every day, but it was consistent that every week there need to be like 5 hours, which is 1 hour every day, which is for 5 days that I've put in. We spoke about then the weakness and strength. You need to know your weaknesses. You need to know your strength, because if you don't know your strength, you will end up now trying to fix what is going right and trying to change it. And if you don't know your weakness, you'll think that is your strength. So those kind of things you need to be able to make, to ensure that your mind is ticking every day, ensuring that you understand why you're here. And those 4 pillars that I've put there, that's what helped me to actually be able to conquer and become where I am at the moment as CSA. And then when it comes to, now we're gonna come to the pre-research strategies. This one is very important. As you're aware, Friday, the PRI is coming out. So these are the things that I'm sure by now you have already done them since you got your mini case study results. You didn't just get them and then you say, okay, I'll see when the case study 1 comes out. For instance, now I'm sure if you've got groups, you've already met with your groups, you've already planned when are you meeting, what's going to happen. You've already got your ground rules of saying, let's respect each other, what's going to happen on that week, because that week, that 5 days, it can be time for planning. So I'm sure by now you've already met up with your team members, you've already planned, everything is already in place. So if mini case study 1 went well or didn't go well, but I'm sure that you have went through your CTA notes. For instance, I was marking accounting. I'm aware accounting is got it had IFRS 16, it had IFRS 9, IS 32. So I'm sure by now, if it didn't go well, you have went through your CTA notes and videos. You have watched IFRS 9 videos to understand why didn't I get this trigger when it comes to technical knowledge, because they've given you what went wrong, what didn't go well, advice going forward. So for instance, if IFRS 9 was the issue, I'm sure you've already went through the notes, the videos to actually reflect, because you can't just leave it hanging thinking they won't test it again. You need to be prepared for it in the next case study, regardless of whether it's going to come or not. But you need to become a master of that IFRS 9 when it comes next time, because you've already reflected. And in your meetings with the group, you've already had your time allocation, your research structure. Research structure, I'll take you through on the next slides on how I did my structure for my research and how I've allocated my time personally on my side, which is not based on the group, because the group, yes, we're going to meet with the group, but I need to also have my own time where I know that this is my personal time, because before I meet up with the team, I need to also know my triggers intimately and my research intimately to a point where I can't meet up my team without that preparation. So in your research compilation, you need to understand one thing: no man is an island. For instance, we had a WhatsApp group. In the WhatsApp group, I used to talk with everyone because I knew that I don't know everything. Not everything. I don't know everything. So what do? You need to have people that you talk to. I'll call them. I'll tell them, do you have time? Can we talk? For instance, email 2, I'm stuck. Have you done email 2? If email 2, they've already done it, we can discuss it. What do you think about this? And also having a sister group. By now, you should be having a group where you've got personal relationship with. So if you do that, do talk to them. Guys, can we share trigger list before we meet, before we can continue? Because it will help you to see your blind spots. If you have missed a trigger, the other one will have the trigger. They meet up with the group and say, okay, fine, this team saw this trigger, we didn't see it. So what do we do? You question it to a point where you understand why you are taking it as a trigger or why you are leaving it out. That one is going to help you a lot. That's when now the understanding the trigger comes in and the planning as per the group schedule. And I'll take you through the principles and applications on the next slides. Let me see if we have any questions before I can continue. Oh, okay. I know you guys are not talking on that group. We used to talk. It goes to a point where it was irritating, but yeah, it worked. It worked so much. Okay, there's no question. So okay, let me move on to the next slide. This is the slide I'm talking about. For instance, now, like for what I told you, you have written your mini case study, you have reflected. So if you have reflected, it means that you have went through your marking grid and also your specimen solution. Specimen solution, they've got indicators that run through all the tasks. For instance, these are pervasive indicators. If they tell you that the controls have been prepared by a junior auditor, or the journals were done by a junior auditor, a junior accountant, we all know that we need a senior manager to come and review the task that has been done. So those are indicators that you shouldn't miss them. They're not then the PRI, they're not then the IOD, but you need to be knowing them and say, if they tell me this, it means that I need to go and put it down. That's a free indicator, guys. And the fact that there's a complex accounting that is there, you need to understand, you need to expect. For instance, they give evaluation and it's complex. You need an expected valuation. You need to expect in accounting, in IFRS 16, those are pervasive indicators that you should be having them before you even go to the PRI, before you even go on the IOD, because you have already prepared for the next PRI. Those are the things that you should be having them. And then when it comes to for your trigger, for your research structure, this is what I did. This is going to be accounting. For instance, this was an accounting trigger, intangible asset. So I used to do this structure myself. I'll have the principle, the definition. I'll have the definition here. Application. The application is going to be based on the PRI. This is a never-ending job because I don't have a solution, a conclusion, but I'll put down things that are on the PRI. For instance, I'll say intangible asset. What are they on the PRI? I'll write patents, title rights, brand name, trademark, software, and customer-related assets. I'll put them down based on what the PRI is saying. I don't have answers at the moment, but PRI is leading me to say I can apply myself. Identifiability. I'll tell you why I'll give you the application based on the PRI or based on the business acumen. What does business acumen say? Which is what is going on around us in the industry. And for me, this helped me to now have a structure when I'm doing my research. One thing I tell myself, Shumani, if you got an error, we all know we need to have IS 8. At work, wherever you are, if there's an accounting treatment that is changing, IS 8 is applicable. You don't even need to be triggered on that one. Every accounting, if you've got an error, IS 8, that's a free indicator. Those are the things that you need to do them before even going to the PRI. You're preparing for the next case study. Because if you wait on the day, on the time of reflection, you're going to be, oh, how did I miss this? Because there was an error. But if you prepare in advance, these are the things that they're meant to get a paper. Oh, there's an error. You write it down. Indicator 1, gone, done. Junior accountant has done this. Oh, wow, that's another indicator. Because now I'm telling them this work needs to be supervised by senior manager. This work needs to be reviewed by senior manager. Another indicator. They only need 7. The other 5, you're going to get them from the normal technical knowledge because you have already done the work. You have went through your PRI, you have went through the standards. And then when it comes to the checklist that I've done beforehand, for instance, I'll have this also for accounting. I'll have review of journals. What do I do if they give me journals? What do I do if they give me a normal task? Where do I start? This is just my own work that I'm doing before the PRI. That's what I'm saying to you guys. You need to give in 1 hour every day to do this kind of things. And this is me doing this work using what? The specimen solution, the marking grid, and also consulting, not just me thinking what can happen. It's me reflecting every day. I'm having my own strategies that I can use when the PRI comes, when the IOD comes. I need to consider overall concern. I need to identify the errors, identify inconsistency, perform reasonability test. So on the day, I'll be ticking these things off. Did you raise ethical concern, Shumani? I'll be like, no, there are no concern. I'll make it across. Did I demonstrate this? Did I challenge the views of the preparer? Did I do this? And when I'm ticking them off, I'm also ticking on my IOD saying, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? And all this work was done before the PRI. You don't have time to do this during the PRI because PRI is just like, it's 5 days, but it's very short. You still need to sleep, you still need to rest. So you can't be preparing on that week. And then I don't know if there's any questions that I can attend to before I can continue.
Your method.
Okay.
Did you do your method? This one. Okay. What did you do?
Good evening, Shumani. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Sorry to take you back. I heard you mentioning IS8 to say it's something maybe you can. Ish, there's a mic that is making some noise in the background. Okay. I heard you talking about IS8 to say it's perhaps something that you can do or be prepared for every task, but then how do we feature it in? Do they have to mention to say, how do they go about correcting it? Or it's a way where you just feature if maybe there was an accounting error, then you can bring up the topic of IS8 and then the depth of it, if it's not directly asked to say, what are the implications maybe of fixing that particular error? Or if you identify an error, obviously you can say the accounting treatment that would be used, but then what determines the depth of your application of IS8? Should it not be directly asked? I don't know if you understand my question.
Yes, I understand you very well.
Yes.
For this IS8 trigger, if you're gonna find a task where there's gonna be error in that task, you're gonna tell them because there was an error or there was a mistake that happened, they need to consider IS8 to correct the error. Now you're advising the preparer that you had an error of 1, 2, 3. So going forward, please use IS8 to correct this error. Simply just by telling them that, it makes they can see that you are aware of the error. How do you correct? You tell them.
Okay, but then do you go to the intricacies of IC to say this is prospective law, this is retrospective?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay.
No, you
Thank
just
so
have
much.
to apply the errors using the change of estimate or period error. That's what you need to tell them.
Oh, but then you don't tell them what exactly should be on that note. Okay.
No, the more you dig deeper, the more that's when, because if you tell them the wrong way that we're doing it, that's when you're going to lose an indicator. Tell them that the change of estimate, we're going to have IS8. There's a period
Applications.
error, we're going to have an IS8.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Linda, you can come in.
Thank you, Shumani. I was looking at that 2023 case study, and then I noted there that the balance sheet in 2022 FY22 doesn't balance. So I was thinking to myself,
I think your line is better. I can't hear you anymore, Linda.
Okay, let me try to. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. I think, yeah, I can hear you. Maybe the line from the person who was
From my side.
responding. Yes.
Okay. So maybe let me try again. I'm saying I was going through the 2023 case study, and then I noted in FY22 that the balance sheet doesn't balance. And then I was thinking, I'm not sure whether it was me, but I checked over and over again. And then I was wondering, is that an error from maybe the typo, or is it what you are referring to? How should I read things like that? Is this something like an IS 8?
No, that is not an ISA. That is now when I'm doing this checklist, identify errors, identify inconsistency, because for instance, comparative amounts, they need to be balancing. So if there's those inconsistency, you need to tell the examiner that the balance was not balancing because, but you need to understand why it's not balancing. Then you can be able to add depth on that point that you're bringing into. That is when now I have to do this checklist, identify consistency, perform a reasonability test, completeness test, and then this is what you need to be ticking off your checklist. You do the calculation beforehand, because that's the thing that most of the time we ignore. We don't recalculate the work that is given, because they say to you the numbers were correct, and then you just assume everything is fine. So calculating is also another thing that you need to consider. Like for instance, on the journals, the concern, the dates can be wrong, the journal numbers can be wrong, and you won't see that the journal numbers are not the same. So for you to be able to see, you need to tell them they're not the same. It's not that they forget to make them the same. That is just another indicator you can get.
Okay, thanks, Shumani.
It's a pleasure. And then when it comes to another planning that we actually take for granted, is procrastinating during PRI, phones, lunch break. Putting your phone on do not disturb is not a sin, guys. Like, ignore those calls, because you're telling yourself that I've got 1 hour of doing this research, I've got 2 or 3 hours of doing this. So if you're gonna now be entertaining Shumani on the phone, on the side, Shumani is texting you, replying, time is moving. So what you need to have a bit of a timetable. I'm going to touch my phone after 3 hours. I'm going to have to check what the group is saying. I need to check what the WhatsApp group, the big one that you have, what are they saying? Maybe they're sharing something that is important, because sometimes you find yourself that I'm doing email 1, somebody's asking me about email 3. If I touch my phone, trust me, I'm going to panic that, oh, email 3, I didn't think about this. What else you doing email 1 at that moment? So trying to say phones a bit out for that moment, it does help. Your lunch breaks, schedule them to a point where they make sense to you. You're going to have breakfast at 9 o'clock, lunch at 1 o'clock, and then dinner at 5 before you meet up with the team, they go sleep. It makes you actually have a structure, have a direction of saying, how is my week going to be going, planning in advance. Over researching, just because when you get a trigger, for instance, IFRS 16, you don't have to go through the whole IFRS 16 and put it there into your research. No, whatever you're putting in the research needs to make sense, because on the day you're gonna be paging and you won't even find it. Sometimes, like, I used to laugh that my file was very so small. Like email for accounting will have 2 or 3 pages. And you'll be like asking yourself, are people that got big files? What do they have on those files? It's because I didn't go and over research. I ensure that whatever is there in the file is what I know and it's what I need. Because over researching can make you spend time. For instance, you're meeting at 5 o'clock, you'll be like, oh guys, I'm not yet done. You ask yourself, what are they researching? Because this thing was very small. We should be done and meeting up with the team at the moment. So you need to actually research with intention. Don't just research because the trigger saying IFRS 16. Ask yourself why. Have an intention of why you are doing this. And the compilation of your file. Your file needs to have a bit, those sticker file, no, those content, those files dividers. Yes, I used to have file dividers where they've got numbering. Well, I've got email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4, email 5. Then page 1 would have the contents of saying what is sitting on my file. And that thing helped me to actually have a bit of direction and have a bit of planning that when I get to my file, I'm not all over the place. I know what's inside my file because I've got contents, I've got file dividers that has sticker notes that shows what's inside there. I'll also have a travel arrangement to the exam room. Like December last year, I almost got to the exam room very late because I woke up thinking to myself, oh, I stay close to Midrand, that's fine, it's gonna take me an hour. There was an accident on the way. I got there, funny part, and number chocolates and juice, they're already finished. I had to now run after Uka, please just give me 2, the one in the car, because I need some sweet something to eat in the exam room. That's how late I was. Like I got there, but I was already inside there and I was panicking. Do you understand? Now you are panicking because of being late, not even because of the paper. The moment you get the paper, already you're all over the place. So try to find ways to say, for instance, I'm not giving an option to write at the venue or also at home. So if you're going to go to the venue, try to arrive at early and breathe, have your breakfast, sit down and reread your file so that at least you've got time to just listen to yourself and not stress like what Shumani did last year in December. Because I almost got there, very late because I didn't plan my time very well. And then when it comes to the assessment week, this week is very, 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 very important because the one that you prepare for during the PRI, you need to ensure that you have handled all your group meetings to a point where you're speaking about conflicts, because there'll be conflicts that can happen. And those conflicts, they can lead you to a point where you feel demotivated. You don't want to meet up with the group anymore because you fight, not understanding each other. Yes, you can find a group that is overcrowding you to a point where your voice is not that loud anymore because they are more louder than you. Those things happen, but I can tell you now, if you want to leave a group, leave a group. Don't feel guilty, but it needs to be reasons that you have felt that you have done you have given it your effort, but nobody's listening to you. And there are times where you need to take out to share your thoughts of saying, guys, this is the trigger. It's IFRS 16. They're saying it's IFRS 9. If you need to fight about it, do it professionally and get to a point where when you know what is it, be able to explain to the team why you're saying IFRS 16 and have facts, bring in the standards. Don't just bring in emotions because that's not going to help you to actually win the team. And workload, individual versus team. Ensure that when you meet up with the team, you have done your work. Don't divide and conquer your trigger list. Another thing, we used to have this thing in our group of suspense where we don't know who's going to present. We get there, we're like, oh, okay, Ere, please present. If Ere's not prepared, she's going to be shocked. And we want you need to have your group to hold you accountable, remember. So you need to be prepared. So if I say Ere present, Ere should be able to say, okay, let me share my screen, guys, and not be scared because what she has prepared. And this is an individual journey. As much as we're going to meet as a group, this is your journey. This is not a group work because it's really painful. Like, for instance, in 2023, I was the one who failed in the group and it was very painful. I asked myself so many questions. Why did the group pass and I'm the only one who failed? And it didn't really sit well with me. I moaned for so long because I didn't understand. And that's when I saw it's not about the team, it's about you. So regardless of whether that trigger, you don't understand it, find a way. If it means you need to call another team member for another group before you meet up with the team, do it. You've got nothing to lose. And dig deeper, find it in you to actually get and understand what does the trigger means, what does it want from you before you meet up with the team. And don't allow the team to actually leave you with an unanswered question. If time is not answered, probe more questions until all of you guys leave the team meeting yourself. We used to get to a point where we'll meet on Monday morning. Why? Because we haven't figured out how to do that trigger. We don't leave it hanging, because on the day we're gonna be now saying, why did we leave it out? And saying that Shimani is going to be the one to present email 1, it means Shimani is going to prepare email 1, email 2 she won't, email 3 she won't, because you know that that's not a responsibility. But having a suspense, it will make Shimani prepare all of the emails, because she knows they might choose her to present any of those emails. And that's a way to hold yourself accountable with your team. And that's where now the whole team is going to pass. Do it for the whole team and also for yourself. And then study tips and technique. Use your standards. Guys, accounting can never use Gemini. You can't use a chat GTP. You can't use an AI for accounting. For accounting, you can't use Gemini, guys. You need to use your IFRS. You can't use auditing. You can use Gemini for ISA, auditing and tax legislation. Those things, they require you to go through the textbook. The textbook's got all the answers. Before anything else, you start in your textbook, nothing else. Gemini, what I used to do, I just ask it to summarize the email for me. That's it, nothing else. I'll ask it, but you need to probe the right questions. So I can't really advise on that one. It's you who have to summarize it, find a way to probe the right questions. The PRI, guys, I cannot stress this more. Read your PRI every day. For instance, I'll wake up, I read my PRI day 1. Day 1 is a norm, you need to read because you need to understand what's going on. Then at night we meet. When we meet at night, we adjourn. I'm tired, I go sleep. In the morning, I read my PRI again before I do anything else. Guess what? I'm finding out things that we didn't consider last night while we were communicating about email 2, and I'm reading email 2 again. Now I'm not stressed because I don't have a pressure of saying we're gonna meet for email 2. I'm picking up things that I didn't pick up last night. I'm now updating my research. If it needs me to say, team, hold on, we need to meet again because of 1, 2, 3. Team, can you please find just 30 minutes and discuss this? I'll do it. And then day 3, which is on Sunday, I'll read the PRI, trust me. For email 2 again, for email 3 again, for email 4 again. I'm finding out things in the morning. So you can never read the PRI once on Friday, then the following day just go like normal. Fine, I've already identified the triggers. I've already know what they want from me. I already know the industry. No, you need to read the PRI every day in the morning. Then you can start your day. You wake up, you sit on your bed, you read your PRI. Trust me, you're going to take your laptop, you're going to start typing things because your mind now is ticking, is fresh, it's not realizing things that they didn't pick up the previous day. And then set time limits. You need to allocate specific time to check your messages. Like I said, you need to not to let your phone that you can procrastinate. Avoid burnout. That involves planning weekly, daily. Energy drinks, I don't recommend them. It's up to you. But if you plan properly, you're not gonna need them. I used to sleep every day 8 o'clock, believe it or not. We used to wake up at 5. I'll wake up 4:30, go run, come back, start reading my PRI, and I'll have my breakfast, meet up with the team. 8 o'clock, it's bedtime. And I managed to do it without even saying throughout the night I'm busy working. No. So if you work smart, you won't need your energy drinks. You won't need any of those things. You're just gonna have your normal coffee if you're a coffee lover, not because you are tired. So yeah, do you have any questions before I can continue? I see, Dwadi. How do you tackle the text triggers? The text triggers, I use Silk, guys. Silk for me was very important because, for instance, I told you my journey was very not conventional. I only started doing tax and auditing at my honors. So that means what? That means that my technical knowledge for tax and auditing is a bit rusty. So Silk for me was my baby. I used to go and look at the section, then on the legislation, then I'll go look for examples on the text leg. And every time on the text Silk, every time when there's a text task, if I've got an example, I used to pass that thing, that task, because even in December, I went there with the whole example, the whole question for the text leg, the whole question from the Silk and the solution. What was the trigger again? I forgot the trigger, but yeah, that trigger that came for last year test, it was copy and paste from Silk. So for me, having that example and the solution, it worked on my advantage. So whatever trigger comes, have an example, have a solution, and understand. Don't just put it there, guys, on your research. No, don't just put it there. You must ensure that you understand. You understand what that example is, that at least on the day you don't have to, get confused on what's going on. I hope I answered you properly. Linda, you can come through.
Okay. How long did you take, probably on your first day, to go through document one? I find that it is bulky, and you need to take your time. Maybe your approach. How much time did you allocate to that?
On day one, PRI, I read it 3 times before I can start doing my research, doing my trigger list, because I'll read it first when it was uploaded. After that, I'll sit down, ponder on it. Then I'll read it the second time. Then the third time, that's when I start making notes. First and second time, I'm not doing any notes anywhere. I'm just reading like I'm reading a novel. Second time, like I'm reading a novel. Then the third time, that's when now I start highlighting based on things that when I read the same time, they're still coming through and saying, okay, fine, I saw this on my first time when I'm reading this, and this made sense to me. This might be a trigger. This might be a trigger. So I read it 3 times before I can that. And also what I also did, I also pasted my PRI on German and asked, please summarize this for me, so at least I can have a bit of direction. But yeah, it works for me. And then Helen, you can go through.
So, sorry, Shumane, just a follow up. Maybe how much time do you take on day one doing that? Is it
Doing
the
the what?
whole day, reading the
No,
PRI, summarizing it, and all of that? Is it the whole day? Is it 5 hours?
Woo! Okay, time-wise, day one is a bit busy. Hey, phew, day one is busy because day one it was in 12 o'clock. I tried to do 10 o'clock, but I'll go back. I'll sleep again, Shem. I couldn't cope with reading PRI at midnight. Then I'll go back to sleep. But when I wake up in the morning, 8 o'clock, I'm fresh. It's from 8 o'clock until 9, because we meet up with the team at 11. Yeah, we used to meet at 11. So from 8 until 9, I'm reading 3 times. After that, then I can start now reading it properly from 9. Now I've got my trigger list on this other screen saying, okay, fine, what is this trigger? What is this? I'll even ask Gemini, do you think this is a trigger? They'll be like, no, this is not a trigger. Gemini will answer me. I'll be like, no, you're lying. This is my trigger. So I'll be conflicting with Gemini time. Then I'm like, hey, okay, now let's meet up with the team. Then when the team comes, I'm now confirming what Gemini was saying, or what if Gemini was lying to me with the team. Then 11 o'clock, we'll ask the sister group. Sister group, do you have the trigger list? They'll be like, yes, let's compare. We compare. Then 1 o'clock, I go eat. Then I start waking. 5 o'clock, we meet. We meet for a light trigger on Friday. Light. SRNG, tax, those are the light ones. Accounting is not light, math not light, auditing is not light. We can never do it on Friday. That was the deal with my group. I hope that answered you, Helen.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm only coming in now, Shuman. I just want to touch on what you have said earlier on regarding that you actually just keep the team in suspense, like everybody must go and prepare.
Yes.
Are you referring to the triggers or both the researchers?
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
All of them. All of them, they research the trigger. We don't, for instance, if the trigger is IFRS 16, when you come, we don't say Shuman is going to do IFRS 16. Everybody's it needs to come prepared. Then we just say, okay, Helen, you can come through.
That will be after how long? Because I'm thinking the trigger analysis may actually, yes, you can meet maybe around 11 just to compare,
Yes.
but the research, I'm taking it that it's going to take a little bit long, especially if now you have to go through like the research for all the tasks. That will be like after how long after the PRI?
For instance, Ngita told you that we meet Friday night for the light trigger. So when we meet at night for the light trigger, everybody needs to be ready because you don't know who's going to present. The second day, the same things apply. We all need to go and prepare. When we meet, you need to be prepared regardless. You don't know who's going to present. So Helen needs to be prepared when we meet the same day, on Monday, on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday. We need to be prepared regardless because that's how you keep your own team accountable. Because if you're going to say you're not going to be ready, it means that you're going to go then listen to a team on a trigger that you didn't even do properly. So you won't have questions to probe. You're going to leave there not having answers because you didn't have questions. So it's easy for you actually to get lost in that process if you don't go to the team prepared.
Yeah, I agree with you. So during your trigger analysis, then you will decide that you're going to be doing researches for those specific triggers.
Yes, the one that we're gonna meet at that day. We used to say now we're gonna meet for these triggers. Then they'll be okay, fine. For instance, let me see if I can I've got my risk trigger list here that I can share. Then you can just see how we did it. Because we need to agree when we meet that okay, this is what we're gonna you can see my screen.
Yes, can see it.
Yeah, we'll decide. This is Saturday. This when we meet. So you see, there's not even anybody's name in here. So when we meet for email 2, all of us needs to be prepared. So when we meet, we're gonna say, okay, she might take us through trigger number 4. She might now has to present this. Trigger number 5. Helen needs to prepare this one. Needs to present this. So we don't tell you who's gonna prepare for it. We just have to tell you Saturday we're meeting for email 2. Saturday again, meaning we're doing email 3 on Saturday again. Sunday we're meeting for email 4. But you don't know who's presenting. You just need to be ready when we meet as a team.
Thank you. Very valuable.
Yes. Welcome. Lisiba?
Hi, Shumani. I just wanted to ask to say, in relation to your file, you mentioned that you don't like a very thick file. So how do you maneuver, I'd say, your research, combining it with, your pegs to say you have your peg from your PDO and whatnot? Like, how do you try and just incorporate that into a more comprehensive summary that would be very useful during the session? Thank you.
Okay, when it comes to the PEG, very dangerous. Okay, I ensured that with the PEG, I was very strategic about it. I can never go into the PEG. I can never use a PEG for accounting. I can never use a PEG for things that I have, for instance, standards, IFRS standard, ISA standards, and also the legislative. I didn't use that for the PEG. If you're going to use the PEG, it needs to be SRMG. And SRMG, they're very, very small to a point where you can actually have a 1 or 2 pages. But for instance, PEGs are like your group members. You can't take things that you didn't question. So for you to take those things, and you can't take 100% of the work from the PEG, because whatever you are taking, it needs to be supplementing what you have done. That's why I'll advise, if you're going to use a pack, at least read it on Monday to supplement your research. Don't open your pack on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Try it on Monday once you have already done with everything. Because for me, Tuesday was my rest day. Like for the first time in my life last year on Tuesday, I was watching series, Netflix. And I realized that all this time when I was just doing something on Sunday, I actually failed all my case studies. Like Brian will tell you, you need to play your PS5. Peter didn't have a PS5, so I was watching Netflix the whole day. But to be honest, packs, they're like your group members. You need to probe questions, so you can't take the whole pack to your file. That's why my file was actually lighter. I don't know if I answered you properly, Lisiba.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Rara, you can come in.
My question would be on, I think Linda had asked some of the things that I wanted to ask, but what I want to know is, did you meet every day with your team? And if you have met every day from Friday to, I don't know, I'm guessing not on Monday because you were Netflix and chilling, how long were those meetings? And do you think it's efficient to meet regularly, or maybe to meet once or twice or three times, but have productive meetings?
Okay, our meetings, I think last year, I don't know, I enjoyed APC somehow last year. It's so funny. Last year when we were meeting at the team, we didn't meet to say, let's present, please. We met to discuss, that like I will meet and say, okay, guys, the pros and cons. I'm like, no, I saw 1, 2, 3. Then it was like a discussion. There's no, I'm coming here and I'm reading. Pros and cons of each concentration, key risk of each options, other funding options. No, we're not reading. We were discussing it as a team. So our team meeting were like an hour. Then we adjourned because we're coming there to close our gaps. I'll be like, guys, I struggled with this one. What do you think? We'll discuss what I struggled with. Then they will discuss what they struggle with. Then I will fill up. So you need to go to the team members with your cup filled, so that at least you're able to fill other team members. You don't go there to read your research for the team. They've done their research. So we can't be reading research as a team. We need to be discussing. Guys, did you do this? Yes, I did this. Okay, Shumani, take us through this because I struggled here. Then Shumani will be answering, no, guys, I think you got all this wrong. This is how we must do it. You need to go there prepared and your cup needs to be filled. If it's not filled, somebody else needs to come and fill it in. That's how it works in a group member. That I think I got to a point I was telling my mentor, and I was like, I don't think I'll ever advise anyone to have a team, because I realized that the team actually can be your downfall if you're not careful. But because I had failed and the whole team passed, that's when I realized that no, a team shouldn't be a place where we're sharing researches. No, if you looked at our what is it called, our Google Drive, we never had research that we're uploading and say, oh, don't forget to upload the research. We're just meeting to discuss our work. That's it. I hope I answered you.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I think we'll still iron it out with my team. But it does give a few pointers towards the meeting with the team. Thank you very much.
Yes, but you see here, 7 to 9 p.m. It was like 1 to 2 hours, not a lot of time. Rejoice, you can come in.
Okay, thank you, Shumani. I just wanted to ask from the perspective of industry research on day one, as a repeat candidate, I think I've heard from some of the guys that share the experience where they say maybe they take 3 to 4 hours or a certain length of time to do industry research. But I've also come across the perspective where people say they don't perform industry research. It gets, what can I say, it gets prompted from them when they look at the specific document, be it document 1, 2, or 3, when they need to then go and research something in the background. So I wanted to ask, did you perform industry research, 1, and 2, if you did, how long then did that take you? Thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna flick through my industry research for December. But what you just said is very important, because when I was busy consulting, there's something that Armani said to me. He said to me, I need to have my why. Why am I going through the industry research? And that is when I started doing my own a bit of what is called summary of my industry. How do I go through about it? Because I realized that when you're just gonna go through the industry research without the whys, that's when now you'll have an issue of being all over the place. So my industry research was just like 4-page, and look how small it was, because I had reasons of saying, why do I have this here on my industry research? But to answer your question, it didn't take me long because I had reasons of why I'm doing this. I was not just going into, okay, what is this industry? What does it do? Because what is it going to help me with? I need to ask myself a question. Why am I going deeper into knowing this business? What is it going to help me with? But one thing that I ensured that I do was industry analysis. If I understand what is called financial analysis, if I understand the financial analysis and understand why I'm doing it, what is it answering? Because some of the times it's linked to the emails. Email 2 is linked to email 1. That's the reason why I need to now go dig deep on what the business does, what brings in the revenue, and how do they get the revenue into the company. It will help you. And another thing that Endunamo has that I was grateful about, they had that structure. I don't even know if Asan take you through a structure that had questions that you need to answer for your research. The PRI, the document 1. I don't know if Asan has it this year, because we had that last year. We need to answer the question of like, how does the company bring in revenue? Their revenue streams, what are they? Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders gonna assist me with the ethical questions. I think you have those kind of notes, ne?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
If you can use that to answer those questions, that's just a bit of a brief of what you can do. It's not gonna be a lot of time. But we didn't do it as a team. Those were individual work for us.
Sorted. Thank you.
Yes. And then, Mlalo, you can come. Mlalo, we're done. That's a legacy hand.
No, it's the other one.
Mlalo. Oh, okay, you can come through, Mlalo.
Oh, yes. I wanted to ask about your ratio analysis, right? To say, because
I was so excited about what Ndabeni said.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I wanted to ask about the ratio analysis to say, how much do you dig into? Or I know you said you sort of like say something with the purpose, but how do you know which ratio analysis to look at specifically for the PRI, and which ones you think you're not really interested in them?
Let me look at my my research and the one that I did. But for me, I used to just take the financials the way they are. But I'll question most of the time it was the movement of the revenue. If we've got a trigger, because sometimes the trigger will, let's say for math, they will talk about, for instance, they buying this machine. So now you need to question, if you're buying a machine, are they gonna use cash? You look how the cash is moving. You like, if the cash is actually going down, so it doesn't make sense for them to buy it cash. They're dead. They're highly geared because you've done the ratio. They're highly geared, so we can't advise them to take more debt to buy that machine. That is based on math trigger. So do you see now that math trigger, it's now prompting you to go and do a ratio analysis. So they need to be prompts that's telling you that this ratio analysis is going to be important for you to actually do it. So doing it without an intent, it will lead you to just having a one-pager and not knowing what to do with it.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. And then when it comes to the tips, we spoke about that, navigating your travel time so that you can navigate uncertainties. For instance, when I told that my daughter fell the day before exam, so which means that now I can't even think about studying, so I need to focus on my daughter. That's a bit of like adding stress to my board exams the following day. And then when it comes to the post-assessment, day one, you rest. That's when Thursday, Friday, you rest. Monday, the reflection pack is now released. What do you do after that? I had my own to-do list. This was very important for me. I'm going to share it here. I used to come here and say, reflect on my previous task done, watch this video, write task B, watch screencast. This was me planning after I've received my, After I've received my reflection pack. So I ensured that, that's what I said to you, I used to put in an hour every day because I had this timetable for myself that I'm preparing, that I do, that at least I understand that I need to pass this. So if I don't have a timetable, my mind is so weird, like I won't do anything. So if I don't plan, it means that I'm gonna fail. So for me, that worked. So try it, guys. And that Microsoft To Do, what I like about it, it ticks, it gives you a reminder. That thing of saying when you're sitting down, if you say 2 o'clock, I need to be reading, it's saying T, you're like, what's making noise on my laptop? You're like, oh, to do, I need to go and study now. So yeah, it was a good way of distracting you, but yeah, it worked for me. And then before the results are released, you have already reflected. Remember, you have used your reflection pack to reflect. You have marked yourself and say, oh, I think I got this. I think I didn't get this. You question yourself, why didn't I get this? Or why am I not getting this? And then after the results are out, you look at what the markers are saying. You look at what you have marked, how you have marked yourself, and say, why didn't they give me this? Because this, I got it when I was reflecting. I got this indicator and they didn't give it to me. Understand why. If you can't understand why, you consult. Hi, Fedi. Please note that I thought this was an indicator that I got, but I didn't get it. Can you please tell me why didn't I get this? We've got this tendency of coming to class and trying to talk about what we wrote to the class, that at least the lecturer can confirm that this was wrong. That will never gonna work, guys. If you're gonna reflect, and then you need to go and consult so that at least you understand on your personal consultation on what happened. Because if you're gonna come now and talk about it in class, and the lecturer won't really do that much, you need to consult or talk to your mentor. And then what else? You need to also work with your group. I know most people, they're not comfortable with that. You need to share assessment results. That worked for us, guys, in our group. We share our assessment results. I will call Ede. Oh, I got a C. I got an LC. I got an HC. I got this and that. Oh, how do you get a C, Shimani? This is what I did. Please share your paper. I'll share my paper with Ede. Ede will look at how I did things. For instance, how I wrote and how Ede writes is not the same. I write so many long paragraphs maybe, and I'm not getting indicators. She's writing short paragraphs to the point, and she's getting indicators. Learn how your group members are doing. Because if you don't learn, you're going to keep on failing, not understanding why the other group member is passing, and you don't understand why you are failing. So navigate the two. Get to a point where you have built trust with your group members. And yeah, consult, guys. That's very important. Meet up with your mentors. That's important. So yeah, that is my journey until I became a CSA. It was not easy, but I've done it. But what I can tell you now is that for now, you've got how many days? You've got 2 days left before you write you get your PRI on Friday. If you haven't met up with your team tonight or tomorrow, meet up with your team, plan your week, and ensure when you meet up with your team, you have already done your own research. Don't divide and conquer researches. That will never work. Research everything. If time runs out, yes, life do happens. That's when now I'm saying, if you do plan, life will never happen. You'll be ahead of those obstacles that's going to come your way. But if you don't plan, life will happen. You won't finish your research. And if you didn't get a leave days, because things happen at work where you're not going to get leave days. I never got that, thank God. I used to get my leave days every time. But if you don't, find a way to meet up with your team, because if you don't meet up with your team, you're setting up yourself for failure. Case study 1 is the time that you should be starting to understand why you got an LC, why you got a C. You can't be now scratching and scrambling the last minute trying to find out, and Namo didn't give me a certificate and so on, but you didn't put in the work. You start fighting now, not fighting the last minute. That's what I can advise you. Start fighting now and make APC your daily bread. For instance, I used to laugh when they say APC is a daily thing. When you're sitting with your peers at work, talk about it. Talk about it with your peers. Like, have friends that, when with my friends, we don't talk about school, and have those friends that, when with them, they make your mind tick. They question things. I've got, I can say we are brother and a sister. When I'm with them, they makes my mind tick. To the point I'm like, oh, today I'm not in the mood of talking to them, because I know when I'm there, I need to critically think. I need to use my common sense. So those friends, those people, if you keep them close, trust me, APC will be a work in the park for you, because every day you're applying your mind, you're critically thinking, you're applying business acumen, and read your newspapers. That's what I can advise you. Yes, live like a CA every day. That's very important. Kamani and Ede will tell you. Live like a CA. So yes, thank you so much. Oh, I'm on time. Oh, I didn't even waste so much time. Any questions before we can close and you can go and study?
What can I take to calm down?
To do what?
To keep calm.
What can you take?
Yeah.
Nothing, just prepare. I didn't take anything, Yazi. I didn't take anything. I didn't take any Red Bull or coffee. I was just drinking my water, and I ran. Okay, for me, my stress reliever, guys, is run. Every morning, 4:30, I used to go run. No matter how much work has gotten to a point where it's stressful, I need to run. So maybe that's my coffee, maybe that's my Red Bull, but I run every day. In that 5 days, I'll never miss a day. So find something to that can release stress with. But yeah, now I'm a runner. That's it. I don't take anything else.
Thank you. Thanks, Shumani.
Yes, News 24. It's 20 rand. It was that. If sometimes it's 6 rand. They decrease it the more you. If you unsubscribe tomorrow, out of nowhere it gets cheaper. So, for instance, there was a trigger about Mediclinic. I found that article in News 24. And it really helped me to probe more questions. After I read that article, I probed more questions. It was an auditing trigger last year. I think it was a Namo trigger and a Namo case study. So I went to News 24 and I googled the article. So it does help. It is very cheap. Yes, I run every day, winter and summer, 4:30, but sometimes I start at 7, depending on what time I go to work. I plan my day. We're running group. Another, if you're prepared for a case study, you'll be more confident. Oh yeah, it's not a question. Okay.
Hi, Shumani.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask again, when it comes to the overall watch outcome, So I don't know if it's rumors or not. I had to say you have to, okay, ethics, okay, definitely sure. But in most cases you do get like maybe 2 accounting tasks. So is it true that you should at least get a C in one, the BC in other, so you cannot get a BC in both? Is there something like that
In
for when it
accounting?
regards to accounting?
I'm having trouble hearing you. Could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Oh, who's using Siri?
No, it's my phone.
No, when it comes to accounting, you need, for you to pass, one account needs to be a BC, one account needs to be a C. But
One
I
should
can
be.
tell you, one should be a BC, one should be an a C. BC
Oh,
and a
okay.
C. But rather
BC
get
and
a
a C.
C, guys, because you're using a standard.
Oh.
Using
So
a
anything
standard.
other than that is
Standard
a
is got, yeah.
so anything other than that for accounting, it's a fail automatic.
It got more weight. It's got more weight.
Oh,
That's all
okay.
I can tell. It's got more weight. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you another thing that I did when I was reflecting. Let me know when you can see the screen. This was my preparation. This was my baseline case study. You see, I got LCs, I got LCs, I got NC. This was but what I did, I reflected. I wrote my issues that I had and professional competencies that I did not get. And I did my advice going forward. What should I do? And this was based on me before I even got my results. Things that I did not identify. I was very intentional last year when because I wanted to pass. So I wrote this. So the next case study, that's when now I started getting C's and I passed this one. So I wrote things that are this for myself, that at least I understand that what do I need to go going forward. So I had a plan. That's what I'm saying, prepare in advance. I had a plan. I reflected, and that's why I had my checklist of saying if a case study comes, where do I start, Shuman? I start here. What do you do? And this is what you do. Even though you are getting LCs, have a plan how to improve this LC to become a C in the next case study. And there was a task that I got is it a BC? Yes, because I didn't talk about ethical issues. So be careful about that as well. That it's easy to actually fall into the trap of failing because you don't have what it's called. You didn't identify the ethical issue. And I was so heartbroken that it would have been a perfect like C. I had all the indicators except one, the ethical question. And imagine it's taking me down now on my overall outcome. So have a plan, guys. Yes, BCs, like what Khadija is saying, BCs, that's very important because if BC is missing one indicator, and if you miss another indicator down, guess what? You get an LC. Just one indicator takes you to a BC, one indicator takes you to a C. So avoid BCs as much as you can. And reflect, guys. It's very important. Reflect. That's what I'm saying. 1 hour. 1 hour was like 1 hour. I'm doing this accounting in a day. I'm doing this only in a day. This, I'm done. Second day, 1 hour. I'm doing this. I'm done. In a day, I'm doing one task. You don't have to do the whole thing every day. In a day, no, one task. When you leave at home, when you go to work, you understand what went wrong. You understand the intention of your 1 hour, what you took out from your 1 hour. This is what you took out. So yeah, this is just my journey in a nutshell. Yes, you can come in, Helen.
Yes, considering that you've attempted this 3 times, I know that you have also touched on the fact that last year it was an exciting, but what is it that you have changed that you can say that have actually contributed to the excitement, and what is it that you were doing wrong with the other 2 attempts that you didn't make it?
I was not dealing with the issue. I didn't know the reason why I'm failing. I used to go, that's why I say know your weakness and strength. I used to go and question the wrong. I was not asking the wrong question, the right questions, because after I identified that my issue was reading, when I say reading, I understood what's going on. Because for instance, with the PRI and the IOD, I used to read everything together. And what it wants from you, it wants you to read from here to the full stop. And then full stop, you question from it seems until IOD, you full stop. Then you question what can be an issue here. I'll be like, oh, the issues 1, 2, 3. Because when I failed in a task, it was because there were 2 or 3 indicators sitting on this whole paragraph, but I only identify one indicator. So if you go from here to the full stop, there's an indicator there. From here to the full stop, there's an indicator there. From here to the full stop, there's an indicator there. But if you deal with this in isolation, say this is one word, one paragraph, it's got one issue, you miss out indicator. You've got only one indicator from the whole thing. So my issue was just reading and not understanding where I'm technically strong and where I'm not technically strong. So once I figured that one out, and those things, you identify them by reflecting. If you don't reflect, you'll never understand what's going on. So I think I was only reflecting when the results came out. And guess what? The results came out. Case study 2, it's around the corner. So you don't have time to actually catch up. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Butler.
Yes, one last one. When it comes to the time management, right? Let's say you need to do a memorandum. I think I still need to reflect on that one. So on the memorandum, you basically have that on your email, have that email format, and then say why you responding to this email. And then on that memorandum again, you still have your to say the purpose of the memorandum and like the repetition. How do we then like avoid that, or should we just like have like that email format and then just throw in your memorandum there without saying anything on the body of the email to in terms of time management,
Okay, this
in
is
terms of saving time? Yeah,
how
because I
I
didn't
forgot
really
to speak about
understand
that.
the
The moment I get my IOD, before I even start reading it, I populate my to avoid wasting time. I populate my email format to subject, date, time, and then I'll do kind regards. The what is called financial accountant. I populate in all the tasks before I even do anything else. So when I start now, the task A, for instance, I read task A. I've already done all those preparations for each and every email. So the moment I start, I do what they have asked me. They say to me, do a memo. A memo requires an attachment, remember. Then I just come now and then I draw a line and say attachment. And then I come, I put in a memo format and I continue. So the time for writing emails already says there's done, but I've done my introduction and everything, and I'm saying like, please see the attached memo below. Then I continue with my email.
Okay, I get. So on the body of the email, you don't need to say anything. You can just say, please see my attachment, and then you're done.
Yo, I was straightforward. I used to just come
Okay.
and say, good day, please see the attached, please see 1, 2, 3. Let me see if I still have one of my paper, but I was very straightforward because there's something about writing that you'll end up wasting your time trying to introduce yourself and so on. If you can see here, I used to say, please see my inputs on the internal working pile, providing this and that. This is what I used to invest in my intro. Then I get to the point. But first thing first, I just come in and say, please see my review on the following. That's it. And I review. And you do pass, regardless, you're gonna get your pass. Like you're gonna this year, I got my C. I just wrote, please see my review. It doesn't hinder you. You just need to get to the point. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Shumani. Sorry, I just want to follow up on the previous question. You mentioned that you pre-populate.
Yes.
How does that help? Are you then, it's a matter of copying the format to the answer book when you write or something like that? I don't get the pre-populating. Yeah.
It's to help me manage my time. For instance, I come and say task A, I'll draw this table myself. Ne? You see here, I wrote this task at 9 o'clock. I was starting this task. And then at 10 o'clock, and then I'll come here. It's already populated. I just changed this. I just changed the time that I said this. 10:18, I'm starting this task. I just change also the subject. That's it. I check who is it from. If I can change this. If it's still the same, I keep it as it is. Task C, I come. Oh, they didn't change the time here. Time 11:54, I'm starting this one, task D. I come here again. I just changed the time. Everything has been copied and pasted. 1 o'clock, I was starting this task. This allows me to see how much time I'm wasting. I'm planning for when I see the next task. When I go to the next task, the next case study, I understand now that, oh, I wasted my time. So now if I'm running time, 2 o'clock, I was starting, but it's already populated, but I'm just changing the time stamp to ensure how am I wasting time. 14:58, I'm starting this task G. I am done. You see, I was done by 3 o'clock.
Is this applicable to writing on the software as well?
Yes, you do the table. Please insert. You insert table.
Oh, because I thought maybe in the software you've got a blank page. You don't come in with any pre-populated a template of some sort.
No, you come and you do this yourself and you populate yourself. You write 2.
Okay, maybe I'm just not understanding, because how I heard you at first is that you pre-populate these things and then on the day of the exam you are changing those many things.
On the
okay.
day.
Okay.
On the day, yes. On the day, yes.
All right.
It saves time. You save your time, and then you just have to change the subject. And then they send the person you're addressing if they're changing, and then you change the timestamp. That's it.
Okay, makes sense. Got you now.
Yes. Lara, you can come in.
I wanted to assist my colleague now to quickly do it on the day, but I think he's sorted now.
Okay. I think that's it. Yenane?
Hi, Shumani. Can you please just clarify in terms of phones being destructive? Do you mean like after you've met up with your team and during your own individual time, should you avoid checking messages? And is it restricted to people outside APC? Or it's restricted to...
I used to restrict it to everyone until I've done my work.
Team, including your own team members.
Yes, until I'm done. Because if I'm gonna be going back and forth on my phone, it means something is falling behind, which is my work. Remember, as much as I've got a team, it's an individual journey. I still need to also ensure that I've covered my side and I know everything. So it's a time where you need to actually be intimate with your research.
Okay, with your own work, and then once you're done, then you'll see what your is happening in your team's chat. But you should avoid while you're working going in between, because you can sometimes even lose your focus and stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just needed clarity on that. Okay, thank you.
Yes, when it comes to reading, Mani once asked me a question that why I told him that when I'm doing my IOD, I skipped task A, I went to task C, and why do you do that? I'm like, no, because it was difficult. So when you come back, was it still not difficult? That was still difficult. I said, so why are you skipping those tasks? Those kind of questions when they're probing, that's when now I'm solving. I'm like, oh, okay. So from that day, I just went through from task A to the last task. I didn't even have enough of saying that, what is it called? That thing of saying task A is difficult, let me skip, because when I come back, it's still difficult. So why am I skipping it? So I used to write from task A to the last task. I didn't go up and down to say I'll come back later. It's just that once I'm done with that task, I'll read to ensure that my English is Englishing, because it's easy to actually have spelling errors and so on. So you ensure that everything is on track, then you move on. Then once you've got, because like I said, 3 o'clock I was done, 3:30 I was done. So I can go back now and read my work. Then when I'm reading again, I'll see, oh, okay, I didn't see this. That's when I'm going to read the IOD again, reading my work that I've answered. Is everything covered? And another thing, guys, tick. When they say line by line, When you're done with this point, tick it. You know you have done it. Tick, 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 tick. Because if you don't tick, you didn't do line by line. You answer this review, you tick it off to see that you have done it. That's what I can advise you. But yeah, that worked for me. I used to read that I used to read the document once and then I start writing. I didn't read it twice with the IOD. Any questions? Are we closing? We're going to sleep. Timekeepers are busy there in the chat. I used to love the chat room, Shem, during my time. I used to love chatting there. Do you have any questions? Or are we ready?
No, colleagues, I think that was a very nice session. We can end here. We'll see each other on Friday when the PRI is released. Thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure, guys. All the best. And yeah, reflect, guys. Only 3 or 4 case studies left in December. We're writing, then we're all gonna become CSA. And keep a number accountable. They promised us a hoodie last year. Tell them we're still waiting. Good night, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very helpful.
Thank you. Good night.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.